Hi everyone, it's Laura Volpes and today I'm back with a video which is part of the Papercrafters United Against Racism video hub. A lot of different crafters are coming together today to show their support to the fight for equality in the papercrafting industry and in the world, and I am very glad to be joining this hub. I created a friendship card using Waffle flower stamps and a die by Concord and I'm going to guide you through the step-by-step process for the creation of this card. Before moving on to the tutorial though, just a reminder to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section down below if you do enjoy the content, and to subscribe if you haven't already to receive more inspiration from me. And now let's get started. The stamp set that I decided to use for today's card is the Group Hug stamp set by Waffle Flower Craft, and I'm starting from this Neenah Solar White card front. This is Neenah Solar White 80 pounds cardstock that is already cut to an A2 size and comes in packs of 25, and it's really handy for some quick card making. I'm going to stamp the image on my card front using scrapbook.com premium hybrid black ink. I have my stamp mounted here in my Misty, and this ink here, as I said, it's a hybrid ink, which means you can use it with water-based and alcohol-based media and it won't bleed with either of them. Because this is a larger stamp, I'm going to stamp it a couple of times so that I get a nice and crisp impression, and this is no problem at all when you use a stamp platform like the Misty that I'm using here. I'm also going to create a mask while my stamp is mounted inside my Misty, and the paper that I'm using here are repositionable packaging labels. I'm using my cutter bee scissors to cut around the mask, and I skipped all the fussy cutting because it's not that relevant or that important. You'll know how to fussy cut. And then once that is done, I can actually move on and start coloring the image. For my coloring today, I decided to use Illustrator alcohol markers by Spectrum Noir. This is my go-to coloring medium. I really enjoy using these markers and I love their brush nibs. These are also refillable and you can buy them individually as well, so I think they are a great investment, and I'm saying this just in case you're in the market for some alcohol markers and you feel like Copics are a little bit too big of an investment. I think these are a wonderful set of markers to have, and honestly I like coloring with them as much as I like coloring with Copics. I do have some Copics in my collection, but if you watch my channel you know that I always come back to Illustrator because I am so happy with them, so used to coloring with them, and the results are great. Anyway, back to the card. Obviously, the coloring for this image did take some time, and I decided to leave most of it in the video, but to cut off parts where I used the same color combinations and also the smaller critters, because I didn't want this video to be too long. I hope this will be a good balance for you, because I also wanted to focus a little bit on the other techniques that I used on this card. But if you would like to see the entire coloring, I do have the footage for everything, so just leave a comment in the description box down below, request a speed coloring video for this image, and I'll be more than happy to upload it for you guys. And also, for those of you who are interested, there is a list of all the markers that I used to color in these images in the blog post that you will find in the description box down below. In the description box you will also find a list of all the supplies that I used for this card, as well as a link to the next stop in the hub. So make sure to hop along and watch the videos that were created by all the crafters that decided to join this cause. Show them some love and support. I know that there are a lot of talented YouTubers. I know a lot of them, and I'm excited to find some new creators to follow as well. And that's something that might happen to you too, right? You never know when you'll find your next favorite YouTuber. Alright, just a few more words on the coloring. As you can see, I'm using 3 to 4 markers per color, and that depends mostly on how wide the area that I'm coloring is and how dark a contrast I managed to achieve. I always like to have a lot of contrast in my images because that creates dimension and makes them really pop. I also make sure to always come back in with a second layer when I add my colors, because that really intensifies those shadows and emphasizes the dimension of the images. And as you can see, I'm using a rather muted color palette. I'm using browns and warm grays because I'm trying to color these animals in kind of realistic tones. But in order to get a little bit of variation in the image and a little bit of interest, I tried to use different tones for my browns and also different darknesses for my warm grays. So for the raccoon I went quite dark, whereas here for the ram I am basically just adding a little bit of shading and leaving most of the area white. I added a pop of blue with that little bird, and this is the image when it's all colored. At this point I decided that I wanted to create some layers on my card, so I took this die set here by Waffle Flower Crafts. This is the A2 layers die set and it's perfect, you guys. It has so many dies, it's not very expensive, it comes with magnetic storage and it's great for layering and matting. So it's really a staple. I have added it to my collection lately, but I think I'll be using it over and over again. I am securing the die with some purple tape to my card front and I'm running everything through my die cutting machine so that I have obtained now a rectangle that is slightly smaller than the size of my card front. I'm then going to do something a little bit scary and I'm going to die cut this panel using this beautiful die. This is by Concord and Neenah and it's part of a set which is called Peek Through Patterns. This is quite an ingenious die set and I have another video here on my channel featuring this die. I will link to it in the description box down below in case you're interested, and it also features another die that cuts the word smile. For today's card, because I wanted to basically share a message of friendship and unity, I decided to use the one that cuts the word friend. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I am backing my card with some heavy doodle memo tape, and then I am going to adhere all the little die cut pieces back in place so that while I keep working on my card, these don't end up getting lost on my desk. And this tape is low tack enough that I will be able to remove everything without tearing my paper, but also it's going to hold everything in place and keep it securely there. Next, I'm going to create a fun pattern on the background, and before that I'm going to have to mask off my image because I will be using stencils, and I also decided to mask off the section where I have the die cut word friend. Again, I'm using repositionable packaging labels and I just trimmed a strip that was wide enough to cover that section there and I adhered it right on top of my card. The stencil that I'm going to use is this little cloud stencil by scrapbook.com. This is 6x8, so it's a nice and large size and it's so cute, I love it. I am securing it to my make art station using the magnets that come with the station itself. This is such a great tool for stencils, you guys. I have been using it quite a lot lately and I love it. There is also a larger size, but the 7x7 inches is just perfect for my desk. I started by adding a first layer using Mint to Be ink by Catherine Puller ink that I am blending using these domed ink blenders by scrapbook.com. By the way, as I am recording this voiceover, there is a huge stamping sale on scrapbook.com with freebies too, so make sure to check that out if you're interested. I will have all the links in the description box down below. The second layer will be this Stickles glitter gel, which I am going to use to coat all the clouds that I have just ink blended now. I'm picking it up with this spatula by Tonic Studios and I'm going to first distribute it over my clouds using this tool. I'm not paying too much attention about getting a smooth application at this point. I'm only being careful not to put too much of this product on the mask because this paper works great, but it's a little bit thin and it's definitely not waterproof, so you don't want to put too much wet product on top. Next, I'm going to go over the entire surface with the scraper tool by scrapbook.com, and this way I'm sure that I have an even and smooth application of my glitter gel, and I can also pick up any excess and put it back in the jar. At this point, before the gel has any chance to dry, I'm going to clean off my tools in the sink under some warm water. That includes the stencil, the spatula and the scraper. And I'm also going to make sure to peel off all the masks while the glitter gel is still wet, because if it dries, I'm afraid that those clouds may crack wherever they overlap with the mask. I set my background aside to dry and then I started working on my sentiment and the last details for my card. I trimmed some Neenah Solar White 110 pounds cardstock to a height that was the same as my die so that I could run it through my die cutting machine and get this frame here that I'm going to glue over my card front. I completed the sentiment with this greeting, "We are invincible together," and this comes from the My Favorite Things Magical Friends stamp set, and I thought it was just perfect to share the message of unity and friendship that I wanted to spread today as part of this hop. At this point I had everything ready and I could go ahead and adhere my card front on my card base. I removed the heavy doodle memo tape from the back, which means I could also pop out all those little die cuts here, and then I first adhered the die cut word friend right on top of my die cut panel here. Whatever part of this white die cut that was hanging off of my panel was trimmed off with some scissors, and I just made sure not to trim off any part of that friend word. I then used some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere this to a pre-cut and pre-scored A2 card base, also by scrapbook.com and also made out of Neenah Solar White 80 pounds cardstock, and then I could go ahead and nest all these little die cuts inside the corresponding spaces for a fun inlay die cut effect. I'm also using this 2-in-1 by Spellbinders to help me move around the little die cut pieces, and this way basically we have the fun inlay die cutting effect and the word friend is legible because it was die cut out of white cardstock, but we also have that continuous design with the stamp in the background. I adhered my sentiment banner, slightly overlapping it with the word friend, and then as a finishing touch I added some highlights with a white gel pen, and this way I basically brought those images a little bit more towards the foreground and made them the focal point of the card. Here is a close-up at the final card, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this project and the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hop along and support all the crafters that joined together today to show support for the cause of equality all over the world. As always, thank you all so much for stopping by, stay safe and healthy, and have a great day.